Welcome back to the Raider Coaches Show presented by Iowa State Bank. I'm your host, Noah Godsell, joined today by head women's basketball coach Chris Yaw. Coach, how you doing today?
Doing great, Noah. Thanks for having me.
Well, Coach, to get started, it's been a season of ups and downs, but what are some of your biggest positive takeaways from competition this season?
I think the greatest takeaway is the connection and culture on our team. For these ladies, it's all really brand new. There's some of this change that hasn't been as brand new for me because I've been here before and done it. But for them, they're embracing a new set of leadership norms and standards that we want to have. And they've just hit the ground running and demonstrate a lot of care and connection for each other. And so they're building a great culture when we're on the court. They're building a great culture and making great deposits when we're off the court. That's certainly a highlight for me. I think we've continued to grow. That growth is not directly linear when you talk about sports teams, and you're going to have times where you take 1, 2, 3 steps forward, and there's 1 or 2, sometimes 3 backwards. You hope that you're always outnumbering the bad with the good, and I think we have. And so I think just the overall growth of our team collectively and how we're playing and how much we're learning. I think the growth in the process, I think, is probably something I would say has started to establish us in that it's not just preparing, but it's how you prepare. It's not just preparing on your own, but it's who you prepare with. I think they've really grabbed onto that, and we keep getting better that way.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have seen your teams in the past as well. But for those people who are a little bit newer to Yaw ball, what's that culture that you're really trying to build that you've been teaching this team since you stepped foot back on campus?
Yeah, I think really simply stated, and then I can share just a couple more things, Noah, but simply stated, you talk about people watching us play. What I'd like our ladies to hear is if you play really hard and you demonstrate good character and you play together, people are going to want to come cheer for you and be part of watching you play. And so there's a lot of factors that go into that, but it really can be simplified to that. As far as people coming to watch, we want to continue to grow to be a program that defensively we're going to be pretty stubborn. We're going to try and dictate what happens both with opponent's offense and our own with how we defend. We want to be the best rebounding team on the floor every night. And then from there, we want to play a style of offensive basketball that is fast to put pressure on the opponent, and then that pressure sustains itself and maybe even grows on that defensive opponent by how we move ourselves and how we move the ball and share it. Again, there's lots that goes into that, Noah. That's why we practice. That's why we have off seasons and prep seasons. But that's really a style and a character and a culture that I'd love people to see.
I know we've talked a lot about off the court so far, and this season on the court you played a lot of youth on the floor, and obviously it's a new system. Everything's new this season. Where have you seen the most growth in your team on the court?
There's a few areas, Noah. I would start with just conceptually understanding how we apply our own personal gifts and our talents and our athleticism and all those things that they might be. How do we lace those together with everybody else's? And so just being able to have open and honest and transparent conversations in the middle of a practice to share about each other's gifts and why yours might fit with this player or this player fits with this, and this is how we become a pretty talented and dynamic team. So I think there's an understanding of just team basketball and how we should not be shy or hesitant about inserting our own gifts into that. So I think that's growing, and when that grows, that's not only happening on the offensive end, but it's happening on the defensive end. It's happening as we have a starting 5, and then you have reserve players that come in. So that filters all the way through. Offensively, I feel like we're in a period right now where we might be experiencing our best growth in how do we play when we don't have the ball in our hands. Youth sport, training yourself in the game of basketball, 90+% of it's about having the ball in your hands and what you're doing with that. and you certainly need to have that skill and ability to play at the college level. But you got to be able to move better without the ball in your hands, and that's when you become hard to guard as a team. So I think we're getting there. The last place I would highlight here, Noah, defensively, we want to be very principle-oriented and then go make plays in those principles. And I think our trust in those principles through successful repetitions is growing. And we're starting to really understand that being consistent, being determined in those principles just makes a difference.
And obviously your team has picked up on a lot of these things. 2 super close games against top 10 opponents, one of them against the number 1 team in the country. What are some of those things that your team needs to improve to really get over the hump and start getting these statement wins?
I'd say the biggest thing is it's just confidence. And confidence comes from successful repetitions done over and over and over again. Those successful repetitions start to stack up when you have more familiarity with things, as you've mentioned a couple times, have been brand new this year. Brand new in our approach individually with how we defend, collectively, offensively, how do we play together. So I think it's a culmination of small things. It's not one magic potion or one transfer player that needs to come in.
That'd be really nice, though.
It's not, well, sometimes it's good, sometimes it can be tough on how you play well together, but it's just the stacking of the successful repetitions of things that players are doing and experiencing successful repetitions in practice, having some of those transfer and be successful in games, and a really important part, and this is where we can all be derailed, coaches alike and players. We start to make the only measure of success the final score. And so we've tried to really identify, let's shrink this to, for example, the game of basketball, a possession might be 5 seconds, it might be 30 seconds. Just play that. Just play that. Find success in what we do. Stack up things that are successful in that possession, and then let's just do it again. So how do we get over the hump? I think it's the stacking of successful reps, which, as we defined a few seconds ago, it's confidence.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back here on the Raider Coaches Show presented by Iowa State Bank.
There's nothing like small-town Iowa. There's something about the people, the community, the values. That's why we call Northwest Iowa home. We're here for our community. We're here to build a better tomorrow. We continue to provide personalized service and innovative products to help achieve your financial goals and dreams. At Iowa State Bank, we're your neighbor, your friend, your trusted bank.
Iowa State Bank, we're ready for you.
Welcome back to the Raiders Coaches Show presented by Iowa State Bank. I'm your host, Noah Godsill, joined by head women's basketball coach Chris Young. Coach, we just focused on the team, and obviously it's a group effort as a team, but let's talk about some individuals. Ashton Wobig has really stepped up into the leading role on this team, averaging 15.1 points per game, 5.4 rebounds, and has been extremely efficient at the free throw line. How has she made an impact on this team on and off the court?
I think on the court, we mentioned in the first part of the show just where confidence comes from, and that's from a lot of reps. She has some of that experience playing at the college level and playing in tight games, big games, highly competitive games, and so you can't take that away from how that adds to a player playing. I think just being able to early on, way back in the spring when I was first hired, just having conversations with every individual. I know part of my conversation with Ashton was at that time on the offensive side of the ball was, the best of college players have the ability to be able to score at different levels. They can shoot the ball, they can find a way to get themselves to the free throw line, they can get to the rim, and they can hit some shots that are in between those two. And so I tried to encourage her and say, hey, what I've seen and what I've watched, you have the ability to shoot the ball. You have the athleticism. You've developed the ball skills of going left, going right to get yourself to the rim. You have every reason to continue to grow those and be confident in growing those. And so I think just an affirmation to go be the best of who you are is what plays out, whether it's Ashton or any of our players. So tried to give that. and then just continue to plant seeds as you go throughout a season and preparing for it. The seniors and I are connecting every week just to help them grow as young leaders, whether it's of our basketball team or it's the next step in their life. We want to help them become good leaders, and so just having conversations, connections, talking about things that are challenging, and I think them just being able to discuss with each other. They're probably learning as much from each other as they are from me in those conversations. But I think it boils down to, Noah, again, whether it's Ashton or it's another player, off the court, you just have to demonstrate you care about people. They do. They have big hearts. The character of every individual on our team, including Ashton, is very high. And so don't be afraid to act on that you just care about people. And when people know you care about them, it creates a really tight synergy. At the same time, it helps you battle through stuff that's hard and challenging. So,
I know we were just talking about the seniors, but I want to talk about a freshman now, Margot Scheidemann. She's been a real bright spot when it comes to the future of Red Raider basketball, and she's even taken over some games at some moments. What have you liked out of Margot and even the freshmen that you've been playing as well?
Yeah, I appreciate you kind of drawing some other of those freshmen in with Margot in your question, Noah, because what's been really refreshing for our team is their spirit is just always positive. They just have such a positive spirit about them individually, and then collectively. I'm not sure I've experienced many groups as an incoming group of freshmen just really connect so tightly, so quickly. And so that speaks to the whole group and some of those that are playing, and even some of those that aren't getting a lot of varsity minutes. That's been pretty special to watch. So it starts with something that has absolutely nothing to do with me, and it's how someone is raised in the house they grow up in and just the personality they take on. And Margot has that confident, free, positive, just aura about her. And so that's where it starts, is she comes to practice every day with the intent of, this is going to be an absolute blast, and I'm going to get better. So she has that competitive spirit to her, but also embraces it as this is something I love to do. I'm around other people that love to do it. Let's go have a great time getting as good as we can get. And that's played out well for her. And again, she's got that competitive drive and fire to, I want to get better today. And that positive spirit, as with freshmen, there's typically more mistakes made, but with that positive spirit, it's a fail forward type thing. Yeah, I learned from that. Let's move on. Let's play the next play.
Back to a senior, Ellie Karlovitz took a year off from basketball. She's back with the team this year, and she's been making an immediate impact as well. How does her gritty play impact the game, or how does it impact the rest of the team as well?
Yeah, it's for sure when you see somebody just playing that hard, that determined, you're kind of inspired to do the same. Particularly, as I mentioned earlier in our conversation, Noah, when you have a team that's connected, that they do care for each other, and they do like being around each other, then it's pretty easy to be influenced by each other. And so what you see her doing in practice and in games where she just plays hard and plays with a good spirit and a high energy and a dive on the floor and make those hard knock, tough plays, it surely is contagious. No, I think that, I didn't know Ellie before a conversation that we had in the spring after I was hired. But what I've learned, I think what is fueling all of that, that you mentioned and what I've spoken to, is just a genuine appreciation to play this game for how many ever games and months that she has left to do it. It is truly a genuine appreciation. When we talked, my first question was, why do you want to be part of our basketball team again? She said, I just want to be around a bunch of great ladies and play basketball and just enjoy that experience of just getting to play with other people that like to play. I think that simplicity of motivation comes out in what you guys see, what fans see, and what her teammates get to see.
We're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back to learn a little bit more about Coach Yaw here on the Raiders Coach Show presented by Iowa State Bank.
Looking for that perfect home? there's more to it than finding that perfect house in the perfect neighborhood. It's also important to find a personal banking experience that makes you feel right at home. At Iowa State Bank, we get that. That's why we're here to personally service your loans and make that dream home become a reality. We're your neighbor, your friend, your trusted bank.
Iowa State Bank, we're ready for you.
Welcome back to the Raiders Coaches Show presented by Iowa State Bank. I'm Noah Godsoe, joined by head women's basketball coach Chris Yaw. Coach Yaw, how does it feel to be back coaching in the Boltman? I know I kind of asked you this last year when you were back, but now that you've gotten some games back under your belt, how does it feel?
It feels great. It's absolutely awesome. I've shared with other people that have asked a similar question, Noah, that I was anticipating it being really special, as I remember it being a fantastic opportunity for not just myself but for my family, and it's been all of that and more. It's just it's been such a refreshment and rejuvenation, just an opportunity to give as much as I possibly can to Northwestern College Athletics and the women's basketball program. There's the motivation that is the most true, in that if we're going to be servant leaders and we're going to be Christian servant leaders, that's what we should be doing. So that's the greatest motivation. But there is the motivation too of what the college and the women's basketball program, the men's basketball program as well, the influence it's had on me and my life. I can wake up every day and try and give back. I don't know that I can give back enough, but that's certainly part of that, what just makes it a great joy.
And we know that you did take a brief break from coaching, and the last time you were in the Boltman Center, you were wearing a mask on the sideline. But what's the biggest difference that you've seen from when you last were coaching at Northwestern to now?
Yeah, that's a good question, Noah. The biggest difference, I think athletes are athletes. That's not the answer. I think they want to be coached, they want to grow, they want to be the best they can here on Northwestern's campus. That's even more unique. They want to be Christian young athletes and be growing in lots of ways. I don't believe that those people have changed. I think our athletic department has changed and changed for the better. I think there's been transitions there from Earl to Micah Parker to Tony Hoops that have all had a great influence on the whole athletic department has moved forward. I think we've moved forward in continuing to be prominent on a national scene about just how it's done professionally across sports and that we offer. The offerings have grown to increase, and that's just an opportunity for Northwestern to share their mission with more people and more young people. I think the cohesiveness of the athletic department has even grown since being away from it a little bit. There's an overall growth in the athletic department that feels good to me coming back. That certainly is a difference. I think the people around here are just as committed, maybe more, than I remember to the mission of Northwestern College. And so that's probably something that, if it hasn't changed, it's a good thing it hasn't changed. And if it has changed at all, no, it's just gotten greater depth to it. But yeah, it's a professional place. It's a professional place that's full of people that are passionate about their profession. We seek to do things the best we can. We seek to do them to honor Christ. And that's, it doesn't matter which office door I walk down and knock on the door and have a conversation. That's what it is. That's where people's heart is. And so there was plenty of that before I left, but there's certainly as much, if not more now.
And last question for you. The season's not over yet, but if you had to pick one memory that you'd take away right now that's been your favorite memory of the season so far, what is it?
Wow. There's just so much fun stuff that goes on, Noah. That's hard to single anything out.
Well, it's good if you can't think of a single thing, too.
Yeah. I think there's the double overtime win at Benedictine, just being able to claw back into that, and just people on the bench at the time just screaming, yelling, hollering, "You're on the road! It's over Christmas." We had some very faithful parents and fans and stuff that were there, but just
Faithful
all of
students,
that,
too.
and a few students. Yeah, wow, what a sacrifice those guys made to come. But that would be a fun on the court memory for sure, just because of all the emotion and excitement that's involved. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure I have any one of those for sure, Noah. There's been a couple of just team meetings in which it could be on the heels of a film session or ahead of a film session. We just thought where our team was really, really tightly connected, and sharing some meaningful thoughts to grow as people and basketball players. Those stick out in my mind. But yeah, maybe not having one to put my thumb on, Noah, just means that there's more memorable ones coming.
There's too many good ones.
That's
And hopefully,
right.
hopefully you can make a lot more.
Yeah.
And thank you all for tuning in to the Raiders Coaches Show presented by Iowa State Bank. I've been Noah Godsall with Coach Yaw. We'll see you in 2 weeks back here on the GPAC Network. Can I get a Go Raiders?
Go Raiders!
See you next time.